Hi, this is Steve Kelley with Live Free Realty. Realtors that actually get dirty. Rehab has brought unbelievable things to my life. I want to share that with you, the whole journey, the real story, how it affects your family, all the questions you have. Timing, lessons. I tell you, I learn something new every day in real estate. I'm here to share it with you. Find out more at livefreerealty.com. My name is Steve Kelley, and I want to be an investor agent. If you're looking for hands-on service, there's nowhere else to go. I'll see you there. Stay tuned. And don't forget to subscribe. Okay, today we are insulating what's left of our project in the basement. So we bought our house, renovated it, but we never finished the basement because of time constraints and sanity. So because it wasn't a big deal, we just turned it into like this big storage area mess, jam session studio and green screen room, which was ridiculous. So we are now going to the point where we are going to at least get some heat down here, and so it's not like I'm working in a cave. So what we're going to do, and this is a really nice experience once you finish this part. And the first step, when it comes to finishing the space, we had to level the floor, we had to do a big clean, but now we're going to insulate. And this is I mentioned an R10, and that might just sound like jargon, but that is a heat factor. And the biggest thing about heat factor that nobody knows is the spacing. So when we do this, we're not going to even get into that. Essentially all we're doing is a fire barrier, but with the rest of the house, or this floor in the basement, the finish, there's actually a gap in between this and the stud, kind of like what you see here. This just happens to be holding, so this I really can't do much with, so I'm going to work around it. And you're going to have things like that in each house. There's going to be certain things you don't even want to deal with. You're just trying to accomplish the goal, and you don't want to cut out quality, but there's a couple of things that you can do to either speed up the process or to stabilize it where you can take a break. Because one of the hardest things to do is organize in this business, and we can help with that because we have plenty of experience, and there's just things that come up, like we're having a baby, so we had to literally cut it stop before we finished the ceiling and the floor, which I'm going to show you in the other room. But this was a really good opportunity because it gave us kind of a halfway point. We're a little bit further than that, but it kind of is. We couldn't stop until we got to that point without it being a little ridiculous, because we would have had to clean, and the cleaning would have been a lot of work, which it was, and it was tracking. You know, we had people going in and out of the house, so it was tracking up, and we've got a baby, we're about to have another baby, so the concern was huge, especially with construction stuff. So there were things we did to keep the dust down, including water, spray bottles, mopping, and systems like that, other windows that were available, but there wasn't a ton of airflow in here, and we haven't been able to put in a window yet to bring that in. So really at this point we're just kind of dealing with it, and we're working during a winter season, so there's certain problems that came up as well, like snow and delays. So I ended up doing a major part of the project all by myself, which could very well happen to you. So I want you to know, we've been there, we're going to do what we can to help, but there are certain lessons that you just have to get through. And if you can commit that time early, you'll never make those mistakes again. So what I'm saying here is that the R factor is not just this R10 here. It's going to be a bit of the drywall too, but it's also going to be the spacing in between them. So as we go through, I'm going to get more into that, as that was something that clearly comes up in any building and code inspection or anything. They're going to want a certain R factor, and that can be tricky. And this foam board is often a really good way to do it. Say you had two studs like this, and you had to get a certain R factor in an old house, and they're only 2x4 instead of 2x6. So 2x would be basically across and then down. And so this is a common problem when you're going to renovate a house. So what we found is we could actually cut these, which is a heck of a pain in the ass. You have to wear masks because it just gets, the breathing gets insane, because you usually end up using a saw. And you can do it really well, get it really tight, and you have to leave a gap. And that gap is what will actually get you into code on some stuff. So we found out in older homes that can be really nice, and this stuff's so easy to manipulate. But again, you almost need an air system or a way to do it, because the stuff just gets everywhere. So all I'm doing today is sliding in these last two pieces. I'm going to film that for you, just so you have an idea. And Then we're going to deal with how we're going to do all this top part here, which is called the sill. And this is where the concrete and the frame meet. This is where you're going to find a lot of problems in old homes. It's usually something that a contractor can get done cheap, but if you're paying for it on retail, you're definitely going to be paying for it because it's almost a bit of engineering. It is literally taking the whole house and supporting it, which you don't want to do wrong, lifting it up, cleaning it out, fixing it, and it's very doable, but it's a commitment. So what we're going to do here is try to get as much heat fixed over here, and I'm actually going to show you with an infrared camera the before and after as we do the different steps going into this. So this is really going to be a full-on education about this, just so you understand maybe some of the choices you have and the options depending on what type of property you're dealing with, but especially for your own residence, as it can add to lots of savings elsewhere. But mostly I would say comfort. Comfort's a huge factor when it comes to your house, and it's often overlooked, or you know, you kind of push it down the road, and sometimes you could be surprised at how fast you can do this stuff. So stay tuned at livefreerealty.com. We're going to go full in depth on how to rehab with realtors that actually get their hands dirty. But this is one of my favorite things to do. I love doing the hands-on projects, and I love helping people with it because you can really gain a lot from this, and with a very limited commitment. So I hope you're excited. We're going to take you through the whole bit of it, and if you have any questions, send them to livefreerealty.com. We'll be there. We care and we love real estate. I know you will too. Stay tuned and don't forget to subscribe. Okay, so today I'm going to put this up and just glue it. It's only going to take a few minutes, but as you can see, the spacing is a huge, crazy problem here. So I'm going to do what I can to not look so ridiculous as I do this. Okay, so this is a frame that I really can't do much about. The other thing is I had to clear out a lot behind this that had been originally attached, because this house was actually totally finished down here, but it was a mold pit. So we had some major renovations we had to do on the mold side of it, which is, you know, it's strip it down, you know, and so some of the stuff that didn't need to be stripped down, like the electric or some of the steel, is still hanging out, which you're often going to find. It's certainly a common problem. And so what I'm doing is just cleaning out what's totally unnecessary and just a relic. And then now we can get in there and get through it. So a lot of what we're doing here is going to be basically, you know, just to help with the heat flow. But to clear that off took a little bit, and that's why I painted some of it, because that actually pulled up a lot of it. But the idea of the paint was I was just trying to, you know, secure it in terms of, there was a bunch of chipping stuff, and it was this really ugly green. It was just the same color as this, and we just got sick of looking at it. So I just done a quick, you know, superficial paint because it was so rough. I almost should have paint gunned it at that point, but with the baby, we were not going to do that, so I ended up rolling it, and it went pretty smooth. But we wanted to finalize it here and get that extra heat so that we really actually get enjoyment of being down here. If you're not going to have your laundry upstairs, you definitely don't want it to feel like you're going, you know, you almost want to go to a laundromat sometimes compared to this. So we're going to finish it off and really try to get some life back into this space. And I know we're going to appreciate, and if anybody down the road is always going to appreciate that. Although there may not be a direct value on an appraisal, there certainly is a factor of enjoyment, especially with bigger families or people that like to entertain, or, you know, just don't want to compromise on the way they live. So this is something that easy, anybody could do this. And like I said, when you're cutting it, you just want to be cognizant, because it will create a lot of dust, and especially if you're using a power saw or anything, which I just recommend, you know, making sure you're smart about that, and plastic off whatever you can. Just make it easy for cleanup, because the little stuff gets everywhere, and it sticks to the bottom of your shoes. So you'll learn to love it, and the benefit is great, and when you finish it, it's even better. LiveFreeRealty.com. Again, we love to renovate. This is something that anybody can do, as long as you're willing to put in some sweat, and you're willing to take the right safety precautions, and definitely think before you move, because you know, it's much harder to go backwards in construction, much messier, and more likely to get you know, more and more stuff. So the idea is minimal impact on your environment, especially if somebody's living at the house. You just got to be cognizant of other people as well as your goals. All right, LiveFreeRealty.com. Steve Kelley, the investor agent. I want to be your investor agent. And if you have any questions, livefreerealty.com. Don't forget to subscribe.